And that's where it falls apart. Sounds good as long as you're doing a monologue. Just don't get into a dialogue with anybody who doesn't share your presuppositions, because it's all over at that point. It's all over at that point. Before I get to the last thing, some Hillsong stuff. Please remember that coming up in October, I'm going to South Africa once again. We are arranging the debate, and the debate topic has moved over to an emphasis upon marriage, what I would call the profaning of marriage, which is legal in South Africa and now legal here in the United States as well. But we're talking about from a Christian perspective. If we can't get David Gushee and Matthew Vines and people like that to debate here in the United States, maybe we have to go someplace else. It's still English anyways. So we've got that. I was just mentioning the lecture series on Bart Ehrman's book. That's also going to be in South Africa. Right now, the intention of the Muslims in South Africa is to fly Shabir Ali in. So I'd be debating Yusuf Ismail, Shabir Ali, again, top tier Islamic apologists there in South Africa, as well as some of the gentlemen there as well, because that's a real center of dawah. Need your help to get there. You can go to store.aomin.org/travel.html. And if you want to help us to get there and to meet those costs and be able to pursue these wide range of opportunities that are given to us, we really need your assistance to be able to do that. So if you pray about that and make that something that you consider, that would be very, very helpful to us. All right, last thing here. I've only got about 7 minutes. Let's talk about balance, shall we? And keeping it, because it's a good thing. As I've gotten older, I've said many times that one of the things I've come to the conclusion is that Christian maturity is primarily a cultivation of balance, of not going off this direction, not going off that direction, of discipline, consistency, and balance. I also, as I age, I don't want to engage in the attitude of the Pharisees, because of all people, they are the people that receive the greatest condemnation from the lips of the Lord. Always afraid of that attitude and that perspective, whatever that amounts to. And I think I've demonstrated, to the chagrin of some of my friends, a certain small c Catholicity. That is, unlike a lot of fundamentalists, I have close friendships with Presbyterians. There are a few Anglicans that I've actually been seen in public with, and actually have spoken at their churches, especially down in Australia. And obviously, a lot of you have found either extremely frustrating or extremely encouraging my relationship with Michael Brown. Even though, Michael, that last graphic, that was bad. That was bad. I just haven't had a chance to even get around to commenting. I'm finally starting to get my head above water right before I have to leave again. But anyway, last October, I played go back to, what was it, October 17th, I think is what it was. Sometime in October, I played a clip of Carl Lentz being interviewed by someone there in New York, and pretty much ripped into him. Now, I don't know the individual. What I did is I talked about responsibilities of pastors, the need to apply the whole counsel of God. You know, I have never listened to a sermon on any other topics. I was simply responding to what was there in that clip. And that's when he contacted us. Someone had sent it to him. He contacted us. And we had some correspondence back and forth concerning some of the things that I had said on that particular subject. Hadn't really had any follow-up to that really until last week, when the issue of two homosexuals at the New York Hillsong thing came up. And I don't even know who the two guys are. I didn't address that. I guess they were on, Survivor or something, and was it Survivor? Is that what it was? I don't remember. But they were TV folks. When I addressed it fairly briefly here on the program, my concern, once again, was not to defend Hillsong, which I did not do. I don't know how anybody, and I've had people saying this, I can't believe you're defending Carl Lentz. Carl Lentz can't believe I would defend him either, because he knows better. I wasn't defending Carl Lentz. See, and I didn't defend Hillsong. No one's ever heard me saying, hey, why don't you just go? That sounds like a great place to go. Why don't you go there? And none of that. Here's where balance needs to be maintained. Disagreeing with your criticisms of someone is not the same thing as defending that someone or something. Let me give an illustration from the distant past. The second Godmakers movie, not the first one, the second Godmakers movie, I criticized strongly because it needed to be criticized. It was imbalanced, it was inaccurate, and so we criticized Ed Decker and the makers of the second Godmakers movie. No one could logically say that what I was doing was defending Mormonism by criticizing the second Godmakers movie. And on the very same basis, no one could logically say that by saying, you know what, Carl Lentz contacted me, he said this, this, and this in the interview, and CNN didn't include it in the interview. Man, I've been on CNN. Yeah, you know, that there's a real good possibility of that. But you know what, Carl? There's still some real major issues here. Like, what do you mean that you can have homosexuals worshiping together with you in the congregation, but they can't be leaders?